Hey everyone, I'm hoping that this is working. I'm verifying that it's working before I can really get into the broadcast here, so bear with me, folks. This is some crazy news that we hopefully we're not going to have happen, but it is happening, and so, yeah, I decided, sure, why not? I just got done uploading a new blog, and, we're going to go ahead and jump in here. I'm just making sure that it's working really quick because I don't want to be talking to dead air. So I do apologize. Let's see here. Give me just a second
Hey
here.
everyone, this is Kelsey from the Arcane Library, and today I just wanted to so it's my most recent and
definitely well, according to this, yeah. All right,
and
we are live.
Joining the Arcane Library community.
YouTube's working.
And I've had people asking me, what was the origin story of this game and of you as a writer, and so I figured it was the time to share that information. I've been playing D&D.
So. Hey everyone, this is GraphPaper Architect, and this is not what I had planned for my very first live stream everywhere. Holy cow. We have got some pretty amazing news here, and so yeah. I just got turned onto this by Chubby Funster on X, so thank you, Chubby Funster, for posting this. I'm going to retweet your tweet, and this is, here we are. So, what have we got? They are sanitizing Dark Sun. WotC designers are sanitizing Dark Sun. I haven't read this entire thing completely. It's not really huge, so it won't take much going on. So, yeah, this is coming from TTRPG Insider. Fighting oppression in new ways. D&D designers on adapting Dark Sun to modern times for modern audiences and modern stuff, because we can't just have our stuff anymore. Designers from the Dungeons and Dragons team discuss capturing the uniquely violent and gritty aesthetics of Dark Sun while also adapting its controversial history. Okay, well, uniquely violent and gritty aesthetics. I would argue that Dungeons and Dragons and a lot of tabletop RPGs that use violence and have combat are probably going to be uniquely violent and gritty, depending on how you play them. If you play them foo-foo fun, then fine. But yeah, when it could be anyone, could be Greyhawk, could be Forgotten Realms, could be whatever, could be violent and gritty. It's not just Dark Sun. Today we're taking a look at Dark Sun, the setting that D&D hopes to update and launch as a major product at the start of 2027. Dark Sun has been around for a long time, yeah, it has been around, and has been requested by fans for a while. It's a setting where players have to both survive and attempt to overtake powerful forces of oppressing the masses. That could be any setting again, but you know what I find interesting here is that it always talks about D&D, that D&D hopes to do this and D&D hopes to do that. And it, you know, so as if D&D is its own autonomous thing and the actual brand considers what it's doing and how it's doing things. It's kind of interesting to read, but anyhow, I digress a little bit. However, the setting also has an equal amount of controversial lore that features slavery, genocide, torture, and a lot of other dark topics. It places the D&D team in a unique place to try to capture its unique aesthetics while also balancing how it is thinking about the bits of lore that they match modern sensibilities. Okay, thinking about how the bits of lore that may not match modern sensibilities. Here we are with the injection of reality into fantasy. You're using the fantasy as a pulpit to preach about your own modernity and your own modern sensibilities. And this is not the place for it. I disagree wholeheartedly. You know, we're talking about a game and we're talking about being able to overcome these things. okay, so you're playing the game, and in the game you can decide whether or not you're going to fight against these things or whether you're going to, be part of the problem. I really don't think that we need to get into this. I mean, nobody that I know of or hang out with thinks that slavery is okay. Nobody. It's like, no, or genocide or torture or whatever. Okay, keep going. TTRPG Insider spoke to Greg Billsland and Mackenzie de Armas about the new book series at Gen Con 2026. Here's the pinky purple dragon. Dark Sun was among the widespread of announcements at Gen Con keynote. The setting is expected to get 2 full books, modified version of the player's handbook, reflecting the company's commitment to making a setting a key part of the company's strategy. Cool. Return of Dark Sun was driven by the fans, of course. People are like, hey, we want to play Dark Sun. Dark Sun's really freaking cool. We really enjoy Dark Sun because we really like playing in a dark and gritty and horrible place that doesn't have any metal, and we're using psionics, which is cool and it's different, and I can be a Thrycreen, which is cool because now I'm a bug and I can just eat whatever. It's great. It was fun, and we can deal with those kind of topics and have fun doing it. The Return of Dark Sun was driven by fans. Executive producer Greg Billsland told TTRPG Insider, there's always been a vocal portion of the audience that has wanted to go back to it. Go back to it, not change it into something completely different. Go back to it. You go back and have your hamburger, not go to Ultimate Miracle Burger. It's not the same. Request campaigns, companies finally, okay. After years of requests and campaigns, the company is finally returning to the 30-year-old dark fantasy setting. Right, it's 30 years old because people made it before you were even there. Great. It's a notable pivot for the company. Former D&D executive producer Kyle Brink said in a 2023 interview with Bob Worldbuilder that Dark Sun setting is problematic. It's problematic. I get to hate that word in a lot of ways, and that's the main reason we haven't come back to it. Okay, because it's problematic, so we're not going to go there. The statement isn't that shocking considering that Dark Sun's past books used racial stereotypes and genocide as notable elements of the game's lore. They all did that in some way or another. Maybe it's not so much the genocide part, but it's like, yeah, it can happen. And look, if you don't have evil in your game, you are neutering the hero. Good can't do anything without evil. What is the purpose of playing a hero and doing heroic stuff when nothing bad is going on? You won't have a hero. You won't have anything. You neuter it. You sanitize it. You make it so that it doesn't exist. So now what? Right? Think about that for a minute. Just stir that around in your little brain for just a little while about how if you go ahead and you say there's no monsters burning down the village, so okay. And yeah, the dungeon totally cleaned out. Oh, it's so good. It's nice and shiny and nothing going on in there. Boy, it's perfect. Ready to move in. It's turnkey property. Great dungeon. Go for it. Now what? Now, what are you doing? What kind of game are you playing? But Bilson insisted that the D&D team is taking the subject seriously. Did I skip something? Racial stereotype. Okay. But Bilson insisted the D&D is taking the subject seriously. Seriously. Why so serious? Why so serious? It's a game. It's a game. It's supposed to be fun. Sure, you can have some serious bits, but why does it have to be so serious? Why? Okay. The content is being reviewed by sensitivity readers. Bilson said, in fact, we invested more deeply in sensitivity readers for Dark Sun, knowing the challenges that face. So they got more. More. Even more. Like, holy cow. You shave off all the corners so it's nice and soft, and then you go ahead and you put some nice bumper pads across that, but you make sure the bumper pads have just enough open cell foam and closed cell foam so that when you poof against anything that's sharp or edgy, it just poof, and there's no possibility of any problems or anything like that. Install, like, at least 6 to 12 inches of carpet pad so that when you flop over from bumping against the little bumper on the corner, that you just flop and you just flip. Oh, it's okay. Everything's fine. Make sure your little Roomba robot follows you around everywhere with a pillow tuck taped to it, so when you do fall over from bumping into the little bumper corners, you're fine. Come on. Seriously, I know I'm ranting, but really. What? All right. Very seriously. So there's been more. They did more. They went to plaid. They did more. He also reinforced that the grittiness of the setting will still exist, but it won't rely on narratives of mass slavery. You don't have to have slavery in a setting if in order for it to be oppressive. Okay. The direct quote. You don't have to have slavery in a setting for it to be oppressive. Bills and lymph. There are other forms of oppression out there. We're gonna do other forms of oppression in Dungeons and Dragons now, and in Dark Sun we're gonna make sure that the moles and the Thiocrines are paid less than everybody else, so they are oppressed and they won't be able to have they just get paid less for the same job. So there's oppression, but it's not slavery. There are other forms of oppression. We can't have slavery, so you can't have that. You can't have sexism, so you can't have that kind of oppression. Because then if they went, oh, we don't allow Thiocrines in this bar. Oh my God, racism. Can't do that. Can't do that. So what other forms of oppression? You had monetary oppression. You then could have people deciding to have some kind of political oppression. I guess they could have the Dragon King come through and be like, vote for me or I will suck up all the more magic out of the area and turn it into even more wasteland, and then it will be more, and I oppress you because I don't let you have any water, and so then there's oppression from. He gave the example of Uruk, a city in Darksun that controls one of the leading armies in the region. That's because the leadership regularly presses people into military service or convinces the poor to give up their freedom for a chance to survive. Okay? So we're not doing slavery, but we are able to round up the populace and put some armor on them. Here's some leather. You are going to now go and do what I tell you to do and go and be a soldier in my army, because where there's a whip, there's a way. And of course, you're going to go and you're going to do this, but you're not a slave. No, you're not a slave. Not a slave. You are being oppressed by the military industry that is not making you a slave. Nope. Not a slave. That we just don't go there. We don't say that. No. I take you and I pull you out of your home and I make you do what I want you to do, but you're not a slave. Never mind. It's like trying to wrap your head around, like, why did you eat that Tide Pod? What is going through your mind? He hopes that the setting will offer players a chance to deal with more mature stories and themes, such as fighting oppression and tyrants. Fighting oppression and tyrants. Okay. But we're not going to be slaves. We're not going to have genocide. We're not going to... Really? So now... oppression and tyrants. Who did we have? Who there was this one guy, I think, at one time, and boy, he was really not a good guy. And he rounded up people based on their, I think it was their religious beliefs. And what was it? You had to put something on your coat. I think it was yellow, gold colored. And boy, if you had that on your coat, and maybe you're, getting put in a box car and shipped off somewhere. Who was that guy? I just don't know. But, we're going to have fighting, oppression, and tyrants. So, but we're not going to have slavery. And we're not going to have genocide. And we're not going to have these other things. So, what is the tyrant doing of the oppression in Dark Sun? Like, I mean, if you're doing Forgotten Realms, maybe the, tyrant is keeping them from having enough flour for the bakery. Or maybe they don't want them to have raisins in their muffins and they're not allowed. I mean, and that's not to say you can't have raisins in your muffins. Of course, you could do a bakery. You could play how you want. Everybody play as you wish. Play as you wish. I'm not harping on different play styles. Everybody knows that's my stance on it, is everybody can play the way they want. And anybody who decides to point a finger and tell you you're wrong, they can shut up because they're being a bully. So I'm not going there. Don't think that I'm going there. But this doesn't make any logical sense. It doesn't make sense, guys. You can't. You're sanitizing it. You're sanitizing it to the point where you're tearing out a lot of the heart and the soul of the material, and you're not allow players to have anything meaningful. If I'm writing a quest hook, like DM Wisdom over at Agranac Studios, he did a great video on this about hooks, and that he will take his players and it will make things more personal for the players. Like if, you're going to go out and you're going to investigate because your grandfather is the one that went out into the woods and got lost, not just a rando. So you're more invested. You have something meaningful to do. If you sanitize it, there is no more meaningful. There's nothing to fight against. You neuter it. You make it worthless. There is no more hero. There is no more reason to do anything, to fight against anything. You turning Dungeons and Dragons into Monster Hunter. It's just Monster Hunter. And not even just Monster Hunter, like Big Game Hunter or whatever. You're just going out and hunting for food. Because you can't do anything that has any actual meaning. The game will also provide mechanics for making wounds more brutal, healing less viable, and other elements that will help capture the gritty aesthetic that defined the setting for many fans. Yeah. Okay, so you get sand in your wound. Take that however you want. Sand in your... Yeah, that sucks, dude. Holy cow. I'm sitting here trying to take my long rest to heal up like Wolverine, but I've got sand in my wound. Because it's a sandy, gritty, sandy... Oh, boy. I don't know if anybody's even tuned in. The chat thing might be working, might not be working. I hope it's working. I don't know anymore because I thought that it might be. So I do apologize if anybody is on the YouTube chatting or if anybody is on X chatting. It's supposed to be working. But the chat doc right now is blank. And probably everybody's at work right now. What is it? Yeah. So here we go. Whether you're a designer, content creator, or just the biggest fan of your table, TTRPG, in-depth reporting. Okay, cool. Cool. Good Joe. Good deal. I'm glad you broke the story. TTRPG Insider. Let me try to speak. Okay, everybody. This is really not what I had planned for my first stream. I was actually going to talk about the fact that I just got done, uploaded a nice podcast. I'm relaunching the podcast, and it's trying to keep it good and on point, and I just uploaded it, and I went to X to tell everyone, hey, I got a new GraphPaper Architect tabletop thoughts, and this popped, and I'm like, oh, you know what? Let's jump on that. Let's jump on this hand grenade right now. Oh boy. Oh, I really wish I knew that this was working. I know that I checked it, but nobody has chatted. I hope somebody will chat. Somebody say something. Is anybody out there? Hello, hello. This is GraphPaper Architect live broadcasting out into the blue. Has anybody got your ears on? Anybody got your ears on there, big buddy? I need to know. Good buddy. Hey. I'm checking here. Maybe I'll just talk to myself. Let me log into my YouTube here. Oh, well, it's there. The blue. Has anybody got your ears on? Just talk to myself. Got your ears on there, big buddy? I need to know. Good buddy. Hi to myself. Hey, yeah, the chat doc's not working. Maybe I'll just talk to myself. Well, that's interesting. Well, I'm not going to turn this into a whole stream about why my junk doesn't work. It should be going. But myself. Anyhow, yeah, the chat doc's not working. Maybe I'll just talk to myself. That's where we're at, folks. This is where I'm not going to turn this into we are in our Dungeons and Dragons hobby. And you know, I'm not trying to poke at anybody. If you want to have sensitive, sanitized tabletop RPGs that are talking about tyrants, but they don't do genocide, and villains that don't do slavery, and I'm not trying to poke at anybody. You know, whatever, such as fighting oppression and tyrants. That's where we tabletop RPGs. What kind of a tyrant and what kind of oppression do you have? What kind of evil do you have? Where's your evil? There's no evil. There's nothing being done that's evil. You know, at least on a massive scale. And of course, you could probably just have monsters, sandstorms, disagreements, differing opinions that want to get yelled at back and forth. I don't know. I don't know. But this, at least on a massive scale. Wow. This was published on August 13th, so maybe I'm a little bit behind the times, but I just saw it and decided, what the heck? Let's go ahead and start the engine. So, this is GraphPaper Architect, and this has been a live stream broadcast for me and for us in the gaming industry, in the gaming world, and really, you know, it just, look, it doesn't make any sense. If anybody is out there that's listening or watching, and you're all about this, you like this, you're a dev team, maybe even your WotC, whoever it is, look, you know, I'm really not trying to get too crazy about, I'm not, you know, poking at you, but what I'm saying to you is that this doesn't make sense. It does not make any logical sense to sanitize your world building. People should understand that there is a difference between a game and reality. There needs to be a game and reality. If your modern sensibilities are that you refuse to partake in entertainment that contains slavery, genocide, or any of these other horrible atrocities that have occurred, then you are keeping yourself from being able to experience these emotions. There's a show I watched, We Were the Lucky Ones. Fantastic. We Were the Lucky Ones. Go check it out. And I'm telling you, it's horrible atrocities. Those who forget history are doomed to repeat it. And if we do not revivify some of these atrocities in ways that allow people that did not experience in them firsthand to be able to understand them in a way that allows us to combat against them, history will repeat itself. Things will happen, okay? Gaming, especially tabletop gaming, is a space in which we are able to explore those types of situations in a way that is removed enough that we can be able to grasp it and understand it and have enjoyment and fulfillment from being able to fight against evil, fight against real oppression, be able to go out and kill freaking Thulsa Doom and free all of the cultists and go out and actually defeat the minions and defeat the evil so that goodness can come again, so that you can go and kick the Lord of Darkness off into his void and put the horn back on the unicorn, because and get that sense of wonderful heroic empowerment that then could maybe bleed over a little bit into who you are in reality. Maybe you stand up a little straighter. Maybe you stand up to that bully that's bouncing your head off of a locker and say, no, I am not a satanic worshiper, and you're not taking my books away from me, because you're not going to do that to me. And you have some of that in you because you were able to play some of that, because you were able to experience some of that and have those stories and have that, you know, you if you're so busy sanitizing because you don't want to offend somebody because this game has slavery in it. I mean, like, they're making mental jumps that don't really apply. You know, the next thing you know, you've got PETA shutting down Super Mario because he stepped on a turtle. Is that what we're doing? I mean, are we on that slippery slope? Do we honestly need to go there? And they're making mental jumps. No one should be thinking that their modern sensibilities are being infringed upon or being discarded, or that people that create something don't have modern sensibilities. And, you know, these are the folks that don't get that people can act, that, you know, you can have actors that have, good grief, you know, what's the movie? Angry something, you know, they say the N-word like a million times. You know, it's got Kurt Russell. These are the folks that it's a great movie, but people know that the actors are not that way. People know Samuel L. Jackson would not have been in that movie if they were honestly that way in real life, and they said that in an interview. It's like, yeah, of course. No, I wouldn't. They're not that way in real life. They are portraying a story. They are portraying horrible, heinous, atrocious, just god-awful things that are like, no. Samuel L. Jackson would not have been. They're not that way. If you made a game that has these horrible genocide everything in it, anyone that then comes to you and says, well, you put it in there, so you must think that it's good. Dude, they're not baking you a cake. They're not putting high fructose corn syrup and junk in their product, in the cake, and say, oh, this is good for you, you know, or whatever other hydrochloric, hydrogenated bibbidi booze that you can try to read on the back of a package and say, oh, this is good and healthy. That's different. Okay, that's different. It's not, they aren't writing a sociology book for actual school. You don't go to an actual school and in reality in a real school and write a sociology book that says, well, this is good for you to do. You should go out and you should burn this and do that and blah, blah. No, it's fiction. It is not something meant to be consumed and felt as though it were something that you would do in reality, except for the thought of overcoming your adversities, overcoming your evil. Joseph Campbell, it's about overcoming, it's about adapting, it's about learning, it's about growing, it's about becoming. It's, you know, that's, there's a lot of that, you know, and I could ramble on for quite some time. Actually, just somebody says something in the chat. Anybody? Nobody? I don't even know if anybody's out there. I know. The channel's tiny. Hopefully the X part is working. I don't know. I don't know. But I'm gonna have to get going here. I've rambled on this quite a bit. Tried to break this story for y'all, and hopefully you can take some value from this rant. Hopefully you can take some value from what I'm saying. Hopefully you like and subscribe to the channel, of course. Hey, I'm here. We're going to be doing some more of this kind of stuff. But I'm going to have to get going here. I've rambled on this quite a bit. I don't know. Break this story for y'all, and I'm going to tell Ryan about it. I told Ryan. You can take some value. You will probably probably be on the speakeasy this Saturday. Maybe we will just have a requiem for Dark Sun and just have a drink and say goodbye till because it's dead. It's dead, Jim. It's dead. Your campaign sending is dead, Jim. I'm sorry. We're done. And please, for those of you out there that really do believe that you need to not have this kind of stuff in your meeting, that's fine too. If you don't want it, I'm sorry, don't have it. But try to understand that, we're trying to do something that helps us all get better, be better people. So for those of you out there that really do believe that, whatever. I'm just sort of running out of gas. Until next time, friends. Good journey.